There we go. So I'm not the town of Mount Desert. I'm Noel Musson, running the town Zoom account for right now. Thanks for joining, everybody. I think we have a pretty short meeting tonight. Or not a short meeting, but we have a short agenda. Suzanne, do you want to bring that up and we can just go over it real quick?
Sure. Do we need to approve minutes from the last meeting? Hopefully everyone got those.
That's on the agenda that I was going to go
Right.
over.
Do we need a motion to approve the minutes
I'm
of
going to
last
go over
meeting?
the agenda, then we'll hit the first thing on the agenda.
You're just so
which is
eager.
Approving the minutes. Everybody's ready to rock. So yeah, we were gonna do the typical thing, review minutes and approve minutes from the last meeting. If there was anybody here from the public, which I don't see, and then I think we'd like to spend some time talking about the details for the public meeting. Talk a little bit about the briefing book and some assignments and homework for the committee, and then if anybody's here at the end, we'll take comment at that point. So, in the absence of Heather being here, I think we've called to order already. And yeah, do you want to talk about the minutes from the last meeting?
We can approve the minutes of the last meeting.
Are you making a motion?
Yes.
Great.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Oops, second. Sorry. Go ahead, Kathy.
Second.
Any discussion? No. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Minutes approved.
Great. Thank you. Do you want me to jump in?
Jump in.
Okay.
See, no public comment. We'll jump right in.
Yeah, great. Well, we are very busy preparing materials on our end and kind of logistics and everything for the public meeting, which is still officially tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, November 12th. We had originally talked about starting it a bit earlier. I'm going to share the revised agenda in just a moment. We think it makes sense to keep it to 2 hours, if that is a reasonable ask for people, especially on a weekday. And then Gail had emailed to say she couldn't make it, and then she expressed a little bit of concern. And I believe, Alan, you let me know too. There is a planning board meeting scheduled that night, and it's the only planning board date in November, I am told.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in that category as well.
Okay, and so for Tracy, now you all are very important and need to be at the public meeting for sure. I hesitate to punt this date any further, just because we're doing such a great job on our schedule. And we're kind of at that point where it's time to bring people together in this way. I know, Kathy, there's some concern that you may have a planning board item then. I don't know. How do we want to address this? Is this a major concern? The other issue Gail raised is that there could possibly be, and I'm going to misdescribe this, like a school consolidation forum or conversation happening the following week, I believe. And she was concerned about asking too much of people to come out, to a lot of meetings. But what are people's thoughts? I see Alan.
I can be there for the beginning of it,
Mm-hmm.
and then once we get to our 6 o'clock, then I can scamper over to the town meeting hall and do the planning board.
Okay.
So I'd be there for part of it.
Okay.
No, same here, Tracy.
Great.
Can I ask, what about a different day that week? The next day, Thursday the 13th, or Tuesday the 11th, 11/11. Although that is Veterans Day, that might not be a good choice, but
Yeah.
so not getting too close to Thanksgiving, but you know.
Can you do it on Thursday?
Let's see, let me just go to our calendar, Noel. The 13th. I don't see any. Major conflicts on our end. We had blocked that time out. Are there other things that happen on Thursday evenings at the town, like boards or committee meetings that are conflicts for you all?
None that I have.
No, me either.
Okay. I'll just have to check with the neighborhood house again as well. Make sure that that could work. Hold on. I think it does work. Should we try to reschedule it for Thursday? We just want it to be a great success. So if that is what needs to happen, then that's great.
Sounds like it'd be better on Thursday.
I was
Okay.
looking on the town website, but they don't have the same kind of calendar that I can't find it so far anyway, that they used to have since they've changed the website.
Yeah.
Maybe just looking at the town calendar would be helpful.
We tried that, Kathy, and I think I had the same problem. Just they don't have all the committee meetings in there
I
right now.
know. Where did the calendar go?
It's still there, but it just isn't as full.
All right, I just found it, and November 13 has nothing on it.
Not yet. Sounds good. Okay. Great. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Oh my gosh. I mean, we certainly want you to be there as stewards and representatives of this process and committee. Okay, great. Well, that solves that. Let's look at the kind of revised agenda that we were thinking of. So I know we shared something like this with you previously, and we tried to clean it up. This could be what gets handed out to participants, but basically the goals haven't changed to inform people. Can you guys see this okay? I'll zoom in. Inform people about the plan and process, capture stories, get people to talk to each other, get people interested in and excited, gather reactions about the key findings and specific questions that will help inform the vision statement, goals, guiding principles, future land use, etc. So what we are imagining as kind of like what we talked about before is that, let's say people arrive at 5, hopefully on time. They'll check in, and then there will be this sort of initially self-guided exercises on reflecting on vision and values questions. And so those are those questions that we would write up on a flip chart, and we may have 5 or 6. And then people would respond to them. That's one activity. The other one is that we're going to get approval to have this videographer in place, and that there would be the opportunity to go speak with the videographer. And that's meant to be fun and sort of like, quick capture, kind of like quick responses there. We had the idea, I can't remember if we mentioned this to you, of like putting a couple of jars or clear buckets up on the stage, maybe 4, maybe 5, with different potential priorities. And so when people check in, they would get a ping pong ball. And then they would basically put their ping pong ball in whatever they think their top priority issue is. And then we'd be able to see visually if there was any consensus there. And then they might get a star. There'll be a map that says, like, just put this star in the map that shows where you live, so we can see where people are coming from for the meeting. So when they check in, they would get like a little packet with the agenda, name tag, a ping pong ball, a Post-it note stack, a pen, a little gold star for the map, for example. And then they would have that time to participate in those activities. And usually the Post-it note exercise. So the question's written at the top of the flip chart, and then they write their answer and they stick it on, and it's kind of this like colorful Post-it note mosaic of responses, and people can kind of wander around and see what other folks have written too, which is interesting. And the purpose of that is to really start to additionally inform the vision statement and priorities. So that's that first exercise. And then we would bring people back together for a short presentation. And so this would be a little bit more, sit down and listen. And that is a chance to provide some background on the plan. Why are we doing this? What does it entail? What's the process? We had talked about a little bit about like civics and in general. Did we talk about that in the last meeting, or Noel, did you want to add what you were thinking there?
No, I think this was a conversation we'd had a couple of meetings ago where we might think help the participants understand how the comprehensive plan fits into the town and what role it can play and
Right.
that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes we do these processes and we have to remind people like it is comprehensive, but it ultimately like it's a land use strategic plan for land use. So that would be a PowerPoint. There'd be a chance to answer a few questions, and we'd talk about the logistics and goals for the remainder of the meeting. Then next, we would ask people to stand up again, and we would have these posters. We've been working with our graphic designer on taking our sort of key findings and key statistics from the inventory chapters and putting them into essentially like infographic posters. And I'll share a couple of those with you in a second. And so the idea is that those would be set up around the room during that presentation and or in the beginning too. And that again, Post-it notes, people would get a chance to look at those. And then we'd ask people like, what's one goal you would have for this topic, for example? And so they would be able to engage with those. And it's okay if they're talking to each other as well. And then put those up there and then come back and regroup and do some discussion of anything that stood out to folks. So I can share what those look like with you. Let me see if I have those open. Let's see. So like here's the draft housing poster. And we're just making some kind of changes to a few of the elements here to make sure it's clear. This just gives you a sense of like what this would look like. So these are pieces of information from our inventory chapters that we pulled out that we think are important to highlight. And then these would be essentially like large poster size on easels up around in the hall. And then I'll show you the economy one as well. So it's some of those graphs and statistics that you find in the inventory chapters.
Who made these posters?
So we work with a graphic designer on a lot of our projects for things like this. And her name is Kelly, and she has done these for some of our other comp plans as well. And
I give you all the credit, Suzanne.
oh, well, thank you.
I would say Suzanne does sell herself short because she could easily have done this as well.
Kelly's fast and more experienced in this way, but thanks. Yeah, I think it's an interesting way. I mean, sometimes I find infographics to be like overwhelming as well, but it's a little bit easier to kind of look at and engage with this information than say like just doing a PowerPoint presentation or like handing people a bunch of the chapters. So this is the idea. And then we would have people either like probably like stick their goal idea next to it on the side. And that will help us just sort of think about, the committee is ultimately tasked with taking these key findings, asking the question, so what, and then setting goals and then writing recommendations for how to reach those goals. So that's like what we do next in the next phase of this process. But this is a great chance to kind of like listen to what other people's ideas are and engage them around this information. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And we can send you these as well, if you'd like to weigh in on any of them or look at them more closely.
Yeah, I'd love to see those.
Yeah.
Go along, that'd be great.
So then people would come back and, we might ask the question like, and not make it a super long discussion, but like, what's something that stood out to you? Are you surprised by any of this information that you saw? And what are some initial ideas that you have? And then we would transition into the last part of the meeting, which is seated. And that would be people sitting at their tables with maps of the town and starting to do that like very, 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 very initial future land use type thinking about managing change. So, we have a set of questions about like, where are the places that you want to, where like you feel like change is okay, and where are the places where you feel like you want to protect from change. That's like a very generalized description of those questions. And then we might have people report out, and then we would have a wrap up and talk about what's happening next in the process. So that's kind of the quick overview. Any questions, thoughts, concerns?
Yeah, I wonder if you could share with us what kinds of statements you were thinking of providing in the beginning, that sort of vision and values
Yeah.
statements. If you have samples of those kinds of things, I'd love to see that in advance too.
Yeah, you bet. I think we might have, oops, hold on, shared some initially. Is that in our working agenda, Noel?
It might be.
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, can you guys see that okay? Questions
Yes.
we've asked in the past that we found helpful. Things like, what does the future look like? Remember, it has to fit into a Post-it note. So I think that's actually a good thing. What's one word you would use to describe the town? What's one thing the community could do to make it a better place? Some of this is intentionally overlapping with the survey, because we have to remember, like, not everybody took the survey or engaged with that. So biggest threats and challenges, what makes it unique? What do you think the town values? Things like that. And these can certainly, be modified or added to. Yeah, I just remember we did this in Carabasset Valley, and I thought it was really successful, and I was really struck by some of the things that people put down. Like, I probably shared this with you guys in a meeting, but someone wrote like, I want this to be a place where people, want to stay, not a place where they like a young person wants to like stay, not a place they want to like get out of, get away from. Yeah, so that's an example. Does that answer your question, Kathy?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah.
My other question was going to be what's our role in this? But I think you sort of suggested it as people are making their comments and putting it on Post-it notes, to listen to them and in conversation and engage with them, etc. And
Yeah.
Yes.
would our role be to report out from those small groups? Should we divide ourselves and be the ones to collect that info?
It could be, yeah. We're going to talk a little bit later down in the agenda about some homework or, roles and responsibilities for the committee, but absolutely. I mean, so most people are like, what is this comprehensive plan stuff? And like, I think you're there to help people feel like it's worth their time, right? Like, it's important to engage, help them understand the process, explain the process, and like that you will be individually familiar with different pieces of the different topic areas that you can speak to a little bit more comfortably. No one is meant to be an expert. I mean, like Noel and I are not experts in any of this material. Like this is such a general, large, all-encompassing effort, but certainly we are more knowledgeable about it than the average person kind of coming in to just because they like care about their town and want to get involved. So yeah.
I would only add that I think, you know, the purpose that your participation in this meeting is trying to, you're there to try to learn from
Yeah.
the other people that are there just as much as, you know, Suzanne and I are there to learn, because we're going to be taking all of these lessons back collectively and having more discussions about them. And so
Right.
I think there will be some opportunities where people on the committee could be in more of a facilitative role than a participative role. Yeah. And we can figure that out. We have, I think we need to, we're spending a little bit more time working on the logistics of, you know, the small group discussion points and whether or not it makes sense for some of you to be participants as facilitators in those discussions. But we may want to call on you and say, hey, I know, Kathy, you were standing by the economy section. What was some summaries that you heard?
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure. And Noel and I and Matt Williams will be there as well. We will be, you know, also very concerned with like the logistics and watching the clock and making sure, you know, things are sort of operating. So that will be really helpful to have you as eyes and ears as well. Great.
Great question.
Any other questions about that?
I was wondering if you'd be able to go back to the goal just really briefly.
Yeah.
I don't think I fully absorbed it.
Sure. Is this it?
Yes.
It wasn't a bullet point list, but then I was like, really wanted it all to fit on one page. So, this is probably not an exhaustive list, but informing people about the plan and the process, capturing stories, making people talk to each other about shared concerns and interests, getting people interested and excited, gathering reactions about those key findings. So those posters with the data. And then, you know, asking specific questions that will help us inform a vision statement. So the committee will be tasked with either revising the existing vision statement or, you know, writing a whole new one. The goal setting part of this process, guiding principles that we might want to develop that are sort of even more overarching, and then future land use.
And what would be the plans for promoting it so we can get as many people there as possible?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, let's talk about materials. That's sort of on us. We're making a list of all the materials we'll need to bring and produce. So I'll just touch on that briefly, Kathy, and then I'll answer that question. But we plan to kind of finalize a draft briefing book, we've been calling it, but it's that like those summary slides. Remember when we went through each inventory chapter and we had the like full chapter and then we had the short slide version?
Yeah.
So we're going to make a compiled shorter slide version of all of it, that it's sort of like the existing conditions essentially that we would put out on the town website, on the project website, and then we would print copies of and could have, you know, at the town office, libraries, and then we would have them there at the meeting. In addition, we'll have like a summary of this community survey and share that as well online, and then have copies at the meeting. And then we'll, you know, bring the flip charts and the easels and all the things that we need. In terms of outreach, we did create a postcard, and I can show that to you. We were thinking kind of the regular channels, right? Like the email through the town, posting online. I think the Bar Harbor story. I would love to be able to do a mailing. I really don't have a full sense. We have a new town manager, right? So we have to figure out really how much that will cost. But it would be great to be able to do something like that. Let me bring this up real quick. See if this will open. And yeah, something like a postcard. I don't know is there like, I mean, Bar Harbor Barter and Swap is so all island wide, but there could be something like that on anybody's like individual organization, social media channels. I think we advertised the survey. I feel like I stalked the elementary school to ask them to get people to take the survey. This is just like a quick postcard draft that we made. So with the idea kind of explaining the purpose, the town needs your voice, get involved. Here's what you can learn, a little bit about the agenda. So this is something that if we got the green light from the town, we could have this printed and then mailed out in advance. But yeah, we'll need to know that pretty soon. The other thing I wanted to mention is, and we'll do a poster version of this as well. So there would be a poster that could be hung up all over. And
including it in the elementary school and or high school newsletter.
yeah, right. Absolutely. I have listed here light snacks and childcare available. So we have done in previous meetings where we've brought like super, bare minimum, like cheese and crackers, carrots, things like that. It would be great to offer something. I think we have like cases of bottled water that we often bring. And then I wrote childcare available because I just feel like if that is something that we can pull off and it helps get like 5 more people to come who might not otherwise, and have a great, perspective on having young kids in the town, I would love that. So I asked the neighborhood house if they have their room that they use until about 5 or so. So we could potentially use that ourselves. They don't have any babysitters to offer us, but if we could arrange for a couple of people, I'm imagining like 2. I don't really know. I don't have a good sense of like how many people would take advantage of the childcare offer. But let's say we had 2 babysitters and we can bring stuff. I have like a huge tub of magnetiles and games and Legos, and I know and I could probably rustle up some other things as well. We could have an electronic babysitter, aka a movie. I mean, I think there's ways that we could get the babysitters to play Floor is Lava. My kids are really into that right now. So I think if we could make that work, that'd be great. And then I put it on here saying that if that's something that you're interested in, you need to let us know in advance, just so we have a sense of how that would work. And then obviously we would pay these babysitters. So hopefully the town would shell out $100 to pay 2 babysitters.
Maybe we could check with the nursery school staff.
Yeah.
It might be available.
Right. I am still sort of in like elementary school world. I mean, we occasionally have babysitters, but I do know people with teenagers who babysit a few. So if you can think of anybody, let me know.
The neighborhood house does put out a list like in the summer, so it may change seasonally in terms of
Yeah.
availability. But I mean, I could pull that up, but they might have something that's more current in terms of suggestions, vetted babysitter.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Do you want me to look? Do you want me to see about finding out about that, or do you want to follow that?
Yeah, if you want to, and you can email it to me, or yeah, that'd be great. Do you have a babysitter that you use?
No, I'm wondering if my brother-in-law might be. He's a former music teacher, so he's like
Yeah.
skilled enough, but whether or not he would want to, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. I can ask some of the MDES families that I know as well too, if they have any suggestions. So that's the idea there. Any other thoughts on that? Does that sound good to people? I want it to be fun.
I
I
only,
no, go ahead.
only to say that I didn't chime in before, but I don't know my availability, and this might factor in for my availability. And I think it's just such an important thing for us to be thinking about and considering in general. So I'm all for it.
Yeah. We've had, I feel like we had some people bring kids to the village planning workshops, and I had printed out like a huge stack of, it was like the state of Maine, but it was a coloring page with like all these different elements, Maine elements in it that you could color, and that seemed to entertain kids for a bit. And also, if they're older, like they should participate, right? Like they can write on post-it notes things that they hope for too. So I think we can certainly think about it that way.
I would think advertising in the social media
Okay.
may be better than a mailing thing. I know it'd be nice to mail out to everybody, but I think a lot of it would kind of be wasted. So if people take the time to read the social media things, they may be more open to coming and participating in this.
I think it comes down to the budget, but I do think that mailings, well, some of it will go in the trash, like a lot of it will go in the trash, but even just like holding it and glancing at it is meaningful in the long term in terms of awareness. And I'd be in support of a mailing if it could be done. I agree as well. So social media as well.
Yeah.
As I'm supported to the mailing also.
Okay.
Yeah.
I joke, it's not really a joke, but I was taking a social media fast, although it's sort of crash and burn. But I know there are folks out there who like do not, engage that way. So I just want to make sure we cover, if possible, we can cover multiple bases, recognizing that not everybody is
If you have trouble with a
doom
town,
scrolling constantly.
I can push the town some for funds
Yeah.
if they kind of give you a negative response.
Okay. Yeah. Well, our next task, immediate task, to figure out how much it'll be. Great. Okay, let's talk about homework, or I don't know if homework as much as it is like sort of roles and responsibilities. We thought it would be a good idea to essentially have people volunteer to be sort of the steward, or I don't know, like the point person for different topic areas. And again, it's not to say like you have to be an expert, right, at all, but it's like, I'm gonna read that section of the inventory again, and be somebody that could answer some questions a little bit more detail about it. Do you want to add to that, Noel, in terms of like what the expectation is? If you wanted to like stand near that poster, you could, but you don't have to.
Yeah, no, I think it's, nothing, it's not additive to the workload that you already have, except it would be helpful to have somebody who, for each of the topic areas, has really dug in a little bit deeper into the inventory and section, and could even read it and provide us some other feedback, even though you're all welcome to read all the inventory chapters, and
Right.
frankly, we all should, again. But particularly as we're leading up to this meeting, it would be helpful to just say, yes, I'll be that person.
I'm on the harbor committee also, and lifelong boat owner, so I can do anything that deals with the water.
Did you just volunteer to do marine resources?
I think
Yes.
he did, yes.
Signed.
All right, I'm gonna bring this up 1 second. I'm gonna write something down. Okay, so that's great, and but also that is great, and so that whatever you kind of volunteer for,
Yep,
make sure
marine
you reread
resources.
that reread that section of the inventory chapter. Since the idea is like we're all sort of like speaking to the same set of information in addition to our like personal knowledge about these things. So that's Alan.
Yep.
Okay, great. And if we don't have someone for all of these, that's okay too. But if there's something that is
Obvious, like housing or economy for me.
okay, we can put you down for both if you want.
This is Tracy. I'll do transportation inventory.
Okay, great. Thanks.
I won't be here, or I definitely would have volunteered for one.
Okay. I'm gonna put null for existing land use.
Great.
I've got cars. I can help with transportation.
Okay.
This is Katrina, and I'm going to be 2 weeks out from hip surgery, so I don't know that I'll be able to be there, but I'm hoping to be there. I just don't dare sign up for something.
Sure. Okay. Does anyone want to talk about, and again, you're not going to be like giving a presentation. It's just sort of like, it also helps us if you reread the sections and you're like, hey, there's like a major run-on sentence or, you know, things. We're continuing to read these sections to make sure they're carefully edited.
Maybe
Yeah.
I can try the bottom three.
Okay,
Marine, natural, and water.
great.
To do the recreation and health.
That Judy?
Yeah.
I'm seeing like this fill up, and I'm happy to be filled in, like to fill in some spot that's helpful.
Sure. Do you have a preference if these two are the last? Public facilities or historic and cultural resources?
I guess public facilities.
Okay.
I can take that last one.
Yay.
Filled up.
Okay, great. That's super helpful. Yeah, so the idea there is read that section over again, and you know, let us know if you're like, there's some things missing here, unclear, or if there's, I know we went through them in our process where we like touched on each one over the spring. But if you're continuing to see anything that needs updating or changing, let us know.
Do you want to give us a deadline? Because you're going to need to produce these in another format. So
Yeah,
what's our time frame?
great question. Why don't we say by do you want to say by like the 24th? So that's like 3 weeks from now. We're going to meet again on the 6th.
How about, sorry, how about the 17th? Just to give us a little time in between. Sorry.
Yep. No, that's okay. Hopefully there's not anything major. Maybe I'm overly
Actually,
optimistic.
2 weeks. 2 weeks
Sounds
from
good.
tomorrow.
How about by the 17th? And then, sorry, I always have to like move my little Zoom thing around. I'm gonna see if this is still. 1 second. So all of these materials, if they're not, we'll make sure we get them up there in their kind of like latest and greatest draft version. Should be up on our Google Drive as well. So I think there's some updating I need to do on my end, but everybody should have access to this.
Okay.
And if you don't, let me know. Alan, you might not be on there because we might have created this before you joined.
Oh.
That's fine.
There I was a second ago.
It's an EN.
It's Allen.
There you are.
Yep.
So, yeah, the idea is with this is it's a place where we're going to put like sort of finalized drafts, you know, like nothing's final until it's like all over. But that's a place where we're gonna, be keeping information so you can always find it and not have to go like hunting through your emails. Yeah, great. What else? I think we've touched on a lot of the things that we wanted to go over. What am I forgetting, Noel?
No, I think that's it. I mean, we've been, I think we might have mentioned this last time, but where we are kind of in this process is sort of trying to finish up, tightening up sort of that inventory piece in those briefing books and really putting some more effort into the transition into the public meeting. And then we'll get back into more stuff as we build off from that public meeting and also the finalized inventory stuff. So we have another meeting scheduled for the beginning of November, and I think that'd be a good chance to check in on, how are we going with outreach, any last minute things that we need to do, and just sort of see where we are at that point. Maybe review some of the questions that we're going to be asking and see if we need to tweak some things a little bit. So that'll be more of our, the meetings next week. Let's talk about what we're going to do again.
Yep.
Than anything. So we may also want to do a Zoom meeting for that one too, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, I think we just need the transition time between where we are in this part of the process to where we're going to be going. So that's kind of where we are right now.
Yeah. And I'll just like put out a little plug reminder for this website, that we created in here. And as we have more to share, like once we finalize the meeting date, we'll put it in the get involved section. The updates, we've been putting our committee meetings here. I did post a link to our last meeting, and I can't remember, do we have links to the other ones as well? Or there's that option to include them.
Yep, we definitely have them.
Yes, and I can't remember, I think, Kathy, did I ask you, now I'm forgetting her name, a resident reached out to me, or a seasonal resident had reached out to me who you said you were familiar with. She had renovated a big barn, maybe. Anyway, sorry, I'm blanking.
Did that conversation happen in the last 10 minutes?
No. I think it was last week, but it was interesting because she wrote me via the comp plan email address. So I was thinking that maybe she found out about it through this. I'm not sure. But over
and what
here
was she asking about?
She was like, "Oh, how do I get involved? I've done a lot of like public process or strategic planning." I just can't remember her name off the top of my head, but you were like, "Oh, I know her."
Okay,
so
well, let's check in and we'll remind each other.
Yeah, great. So just I wanted to like revisit this approximate timeline that we made, which at the time I feel like was giving Noel a lot of heartburn, or we were just feel like, whoa, this is like really ambitious, right? But we're kind of sort of still sticking to it, right? So we we're in this kind of fall period where we are doing that vision and values work, and we'll really start entering into the goal setting later after this meeting happens. So just to say, like, everyone's doing a really good job. Keep up the good work. It's really been we typically say, like, if things need to slow down for whatever reason, like, then they should. But we want these to be and want it to be an efficient process. Sometimes these plans can get really dragged out, and it can be a lot. So we're trying to be mindful of that. Any last thoughts or questions?
Yes, I just remembered who it was we were talking about.
Great.
I'll
Who
tell you
was it?
later if you want, but
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, so that's all we had prepared. If there's anything tonight you're, stewing on it later, that you want to discuss further, reach out, get in touch. I will send you the draft agenda for the public meeting, and then, we may continue to refine that. So we ask that you don't send it out. And then we'll update the date in the materials that we've created, and we can send you the draft posters also as well, if you think that would be helpful.
Yeah,
I'm gonna update the materials to the Google Drive, and then I'll send out the list of the things that you guys agreed to speak
I
on
would say it's once we confirm that date is available, then we're gonna wanna hone in on the outreach materials, and we're gonna just send you guys stuff, and so just blast it out from that point.
Mhm.
Yep,
We'll
multiple.
give you the go sign.
Yep. Great. Well, I don't see any other public participants tonight, so happy to take a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn, I guess.
Second that.
Anybody else? All in favor?
Yay.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
We'll be in
Bye.
touch soon.
See you soon. Bye-bye.